I think would not have heard this song or would be hearing this song for the first time. So it will give you a brief idea about the Mahabharata, and I think it's apt to start with this song. Okay, so we are going to do this. So let's begin.
और मैं नहीं लौटती तो तुम्हारे मन में तो नहीं हिया था, तब भी तो कृष्ण द्वारका को बचा सकता था। राधा कृष्ण के कंकर में संसार को राधा का महत्व सारी अपनी दुष्कर्मों से द्वारका को पतन की ओर ले जाना चाहता है। राधा के अंदर तो तुम द्वारका की नींव हो, ये द्वारका ही तुम्हारा स्वप्न है। तुम्हारे अधिकार मार्ग पर चलकर ही इस द्वारका का अस्तित्व सुरक्षित रहेगा। राधा जैसे पवित्र आत्मा का सम्मान नहीं होता, प्रेम का सम्मान
अथ श्री महाभारत कथा। महाभारत कथा है पुरुषार्थ की, ये स्वार्थ की, परमार्थ की सारथी जिसके भले श्री कृष्ण पाठ की। शब्द घोषित हुआ जब सत्य सार्थक सर्वथा, शब्द घोषित हुआ।
पापा थोड़ा गैस भी इधर रखा था तो पापा ने छन्ने दे हाथ मार दिया।
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत, अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्। परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां, धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे। भारत की है कहानी सदियों से भी पुरानी, है ज्ञान की ये गंगा, ऋषियों की अमर कहानी। ये विश्व भारती है, वीरों की आरती है।
नहीं कह रही थी। हाँ मैं कह रही थी कि लाइक मीन्स कैसे क्या होने वाला है, कल कहाँ मिलना है, क्या चीज़ है, कैसे पहचानेंगे एक दूसरे को। लाइक
We will start the Mahabharata. Not with you, the text of course. Okay, so first we'll look at the syllabus. what is the syllabus
अरे
before proceeding
मेरा
further.
कहना है
Okay,
कि that just WhatsApp the
so
current
you
photo
have to
what you are
study this paper
wearing
1 Indian
tomorrow
classical literature.
and click
Then
just
Vyasa,
मतलब कोई भी फोटो
Ved
खींचना
Vyasa,
है
who
जो
wrote
कल
this
पहन के आ रहे हो
selections
अपने
from the
और भेज
Mahabharata.
देना ठीक है सारे
And
ही
what all parts you have
ताकि
to
we can
go
just
through. The first is the dicing and the sequel to dicing. The second is
नहीं
the temptation of Karna.
वो तो
The third is
वो तो ठीक
Dhritarashtra and
वो तो
Gandhari
ठीक
War.
है ना लाइक इट
Those you
मंडे
know about
ट्यूसडे दीज
Mahabharata.
आर सो वर्किंग डेज सो हम
I'm
कैसे
sure
भी
that
उसको
you
तो
would
पहचानेंगे
be
बस
familiar
मेरा ये
about the story.
कंसर्न है
In case you are not, it's not an issue. Okay.
जहाँ
Sorry, this one should be like
हाँ
यहाँ
लेकिन
पे हाँ.
मतलब घर से निकलते
Okay.
वक्त
अरे
तो
ये
भेज ही देना लाइक
minimize
इफ
हाँ.
वी नॉट मेट वहाँ पर
And the
जहाँ पे
book
तुम
name
बोल रहे हो सो
that you need
जस्ट
to
फॉर दैट
refer to is the Mahabharata selections from the
थैंक्स
Sabha Parva
गाइस
and
लाइक ये मेरा
Udyoga Parva
सबसे बड़ा मुझे वो था इशू
and
कि मैं
translated
पहचानूंगी
by
कैसे
J.B. Boitanen, edited by Kanav Gupta and Neha Pandey.
जैसे
Worldview publication. Why Worldview publication, you might ask? Because Worldview publication
इवन इट हैपेंस विद
has
मी ना
the
लाइक मैंने तो
essays,
लोगों को देख भी
has
रखा था ना
the
तब भी मैं
critical
दूर से देख
readings
के क्या बोलती हूँ वो
which would
देखो वो
help
आ
you
रही हो जबकि मेरे
in
उल्टी साइड से कोई
preparing
वो
for
मतलब
your
जिसको
exam
आना
and
था ना
also
वो
preparing
मेरी
your
उल्टी
answers
साइड
for
से आ
that.
रही थी और मैं किसी और को
So
देख के ही कह रही देखो
that's why.
ये ना हमारे ही
Otherwise, you
साथ
can
वाली
take
लग
any
रही
book,
है
but of course, this is the
तो मेरे
prescribed
साथ
book,
ये इशू बहुत
and
होता है कि
you
बिना
will find
कपड़ों के तो
everything
मैं
here.
किसी को
So
पहचान नहीं सकती
the
जल्दी
book will look like
सो
something like. I'll show you the image or the book itself. I hope you can see it. This is the
बिल्कुल
book. Okay. I hope it's visible to everyone. This is the book. Okay. Back side is something like this, and the contents, if you want to know. Well, I will be teaching you, so no need to worry about it. But it's all right. Well, finally, this is the book. Okay. चलो. So let's आगे बढ़ते हैं. The Mahabharata, as you all know, is an epic. What is an epic? We will read that. We will understand that. That deals primarily with the story of two families laying claim to the throne of Hastinapur. The tragedy is the two families are of two brothers, the Kauravas and the Pandavas.
गाइस मैं ये बोल रही हूँ
It's a
लाइक
family
मेरे
feud,
यहाँ से ना मुझको
okay,
1 घंटा
between the
3
brothers.
मिनट से तक का मतलब है
The ongoing skirmish
तो मतलब
or tension between the two families,
सो
Kauravas and
मतलब आप लोग
Pandavas,
मुझे एक सजेस्ट करो
ultimately
मेरे यहाँ से
culminates
मेट्रो भी है
in the
एंड
Battle
यू
of
नो
Kurukshetra,
द बस सिस्टम
the
आल्सो
famous battle,
मतलब
of
मैं
course,
कौन
and
सा
it's
प्रेफर
also
करूँ
place
लाइक
in
मुझको लग
Haryana,
रहा है मैं बस से ही आऊँ तो
where the
ज़्यादा
100
फायदे में रहूँगी
Kauravas
क्योंकि
were
मेट्रो में
killed
क्या है ना ऐसा
and
लाइक
the
हमारे
Pandavas
साकेत से ना यहाँ
emerged
जाने वाले बहुत
victorious,
सारे हैं
aided by the
सो
guidance of Krishna.
मुझे नहीं
As
लगता
you
कि
all
मैं
know,
उस
there
पर
is a
पहुँच
famous
पाऊँगी जल्दी
famous episode in Mahabharata where Duryodhan got the chance to choose between either having
लाइक
Krishna,
हम
Lord
यहाँ से
Krishna on his
मतलब
side,
जाते हैं साकेत
or
है ना
his army.
और फिर
That is,
साकेत से हम
Krishna
लोग
would
मेट्रो
provide army
लेते
to
हैं
Duryodhan. Of course, being Duryodhan,
या
the way he was, he chose not Krishna but his army. He thought that what a one man can do, like
और
what can he do, right? He's just a single man. Well, however, the Mahabharata is not
मतलब
just
ऐसा
the
लगता है
story
कि वहाँ जल्दी
of
जाके
the
खड़ी
war
हो जाऊंगी तो कैसे
between
मतलब वैसे उसमें भी
the
लाइन लग रही है
Kauravas
पता है
and the Pandavas. There are a number of little tales, myths, anecdotes
हाँ वही
in
ना
this huge epic, and in a sense, it is a treasure trove of cultural content.
सो क्या
So,
लगता है
you should not look at Mahabharata or the Mahabharata just as an epic, just as a piece of story
हाँ साकेत से
or
कोई बस नहीं है
entertainment,
साकेत एक मेट्रो
you know,
स्टेशन है
to pass your time or something. Apart from that,
बस स्टैंड तो मेरा
it gives
बकरा है
a
तितली
lot
है
of ideas about Indian culture and the society that we had, and also not only that, it's
बकरा
metaphorical
हॉस्पिटल
in
सर से
a
ही
lot of
होगा
ways. So metaphorical, what is metaphorical? What is literal? So literal means basically the two families are fighting, so that's literal. And metaphorical could be good and evil, right? Represented by two families or two brothers, two clans.
हाँ हाँ वही है मतलब
Okay, so in this way, it has didactic purpose as
नहीं
well,
बदरपुर
moral
नहीं
purpose,
बदरपुर यार बहुत ही अलग है मतलब एनडी रोड
and
बोलते हैं उसको
it's
मेहरपुर
not
बदरपुर रोड
just
तो
simply
वहीं से
the
ये
way it
बहुत
appears to be at the surface. So you
ऐसे
need to delve deep into this text, the Mahabharata, to understand all these
हाँ,
aspects.
तो तुमने लोकेशन
Okay,
कहाँ के लिए
just
डाली
don't look at these
कि मतलब
tales
छोड़ना कहाँ
told
है,
by
ये भी तो होता है।
the narrators, different narrators. There is
वो नहीं
not
छोड़
one
सकता,
single
बकवास स्कूल से
narrator
कोई
in
भी
this
यहाँ से मेट्रो नहीं है
the
ना।
Mahabharata epic. There are different narrators. How many you may ask? Well, a lot. But of course,
नहीं तो
we are
हम
not going to dwell
मैम ने
into
हमें
that.
कहाँ कहा
The
है, पटेल
most
चौक आने
important
के
thing
लिए
is
या फिर
to
आकाशवाणी?
focus or read between the lines. You must have heard your teachers,
एग्जैक्टली नहीं नहीं,
I assume.
बस जो होगी
Read between the
वो तो
lines.
मुझे
So you
आकाशवाणी
won't
पे
be
ही
finding
छोड़ो।
anything. Like there is
और
a
अगर मैं
space.
मेट्रो से
You would say,
आऊँगी
"Ki,
देन आई
what should we read between the lines? There
मतलब
is
पटेल
nothing
चौक
between
पे
the two
जाऊँगी।
lines. It's empty space." That's again taking it literally. What I mean is, read between the lines means understanding what it is trying to
हाँ
say apart
एग्जैक्टली
from
क्योंकि
what it
मुझे
appears
जो
to
मिल
say
रही है ना वो
at
मिल
the
रही है
surface level.
हमदर्द नगर
So
से
going deep in,
एकदम डायरेक्ट मिल
okay,
रही है आकाशवाणी के लिए 548
well,
जाएगी।
the Mahabharata
या
is the name of an Indian oral epic to begin
हाँ
with.
तो मैं वही कह रही हूँ कि
Since
मैं
you are
मिल नहीं
beginning, so I
पाऊंगी
should
फिर,
assume
पर
that
वही है
you
कि मुझे
know
तुम तो
nothing.
मिल जाओगे ना,
Just
वहाँ ये
kidding.
चीज
No,
है ना।
begin with and compiled, remember, compiled traditionally in Sanskrit. Later on,
548 नहीं,
charting the
548।
story of a family involved in a tussle
या
that leads to a battle. So tussle leads to a battle. That's rhyming.
हाँ हाँ, लाइक मैं फिर भी 8 बजे से
The
निकलने
epic
की कोशिश करूंगी, लाइक
is
कि
an
मैं पहुंच
effortless
जाऊं क्योंकि
verse
मेरे यहाँ से ना बड़ा ही
and
क्राउड
has
है।
many episodes. Unlike the verses or couplets you
नहीं
have
मेट्रो
read,
का भी और इवन जो
there is
बस
some
सिस्टम
kind
है
of
क्या
effort
है ना कि बसेस में
involved.
भी लाइन से
Like
जा रहे
in
हो
iambic
तो क्या होता है
pentameter,
कि 4-5
the author or sorry, the poet
हाँ
must
नहीं मतलब
stress on making sure that in iambic pentameter the
अच्छा
meter is taken care of.
तो
It's
तुम
not going haywire.
पर वो तो ये है ना
The
कि
meters are
मेट्रो
not
ऐसा है कि
exceeding,
आपको
or there are
पहुंचाती बहुत
no
जल्दी
less
है,
meters
15
than
मिनट में
required,
आप पहुंच
or
जाएंगे।
something like that. But in epic, this one masterpiece, it's effortless, and of course,
चलो
it has
ठीक
many
है फिर।
episodes. 18. The Mahabharata is a story of kinship and conflict for dynasty. Okay, it's basically Game of Thrones, but way bigger than Game of Thrones. Game of
नहीं
Thrones
नहीं
stand
हमारा
nowhere
11:30
near
नहीं है, मैम
Mahabharata.
ने कहा कि आप
Okay,
11:30 तक
but
तो पहुंच ही
just
जाए,
to give
मतलब
a
पहले तो
modern
11
example,
ही है।
it is thus nowhere near. Okay, remember this.
हाँ मतलब
If I have to
आप
take,
अगर
I will
बहुत
take
ही
back
लेट
my
करते हैं तो
statement.
11:30
It is
अप्रॉक्स
thus
टाइम मैम ने
that
दिया कि इतने
comparison.
तक तो पहुंच ही जाना
The
है।
story of a family quarrel in verse involving the two warring groups, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. The succession conflict begins when Yudhishthira, the eldest son, the one who is taking care of this family,
पटेल चौक से
and
पूछ रहे हो
also
तो वो
this
शायद
concept
लगता
of
है
dharma,
10
this
मिनट्स
dilemma
लगेगा
regarding
जाने
dharma.
के।
What is the dharma? What is dharma? What is adharma? And let me tell you beforehand, this question is going to come into your question paper. Okay, like 90% chances are there. Of course, if someone changes, that's a different thing. But Yudhishthira's concept of dharma or the dharma in the general sense, and what Yudhishthira understood by dharma or his belief of dharma. Okay, concerning. So that question.
बंद कर दो
Okay, so be ready. When Yudhishthira or Yudhishthir, not Yudhishthira, Yudhishthir seeks a fair share for the Pandavas. Ruler of mere 5 villages. He only says, I don't want the kingdom. Okay, don't give me the kingdom. Just give me 5 villages. Morning time, yeah. So, when he is denied this rightful claim, I mean, can you understand? He is not even asking for the whole kingdom, though he deserves it. He has the right for it, but he's not asking. He says, just give me 5 villages. I don't want anything else. I would be happy. I would be living peacefully. But no. Duryodhana says, I won't even give you an inch of a land, like a speck of a land. Okay, needle worth of a land. I won't even give you that. Why, man? Well, the struggle for inheritance begins, and the question of who is the rightful heir, that's the main question, right, is posed and emphasized. Now, I would like to quote a very famous poem by Sri Ramdhari Singh Dinkarji, who is a very famous poet. I admire him a lot. I hope you must have heard his name. In case you haven't, it's all right. So he has written a very famous piece of work called Rashmi Rathi. Well, the lines go like this. Of course, it's a very long poem, but I will be quoting only the specific lines concerning this present context. Okay. Varsho, those who don't know Hindi, please forgive me for that, but it's important to quote Ramdhari Singh Ji. So, okay, you won't lose anything. It's all right. So just don't worry. Okay, let me begin. वर्षों तक वन में घूम घूम बाधा विघ्नों को चूम चूम सह धूप धाम पानी पत्थर पांडव आए कुछ और निखर सौभाग्य न सब दिन सोता है देखे आगे क्या होता है मैत्री की राह बताने को सबको सुमार्ग पर लाने को दुर्योधन को समझाने को भीष्म विध्वंस बचाने को भगवान हस्तिनापुर आए पांडव का संदेशा लाए नाउ वी विल मूव टू कृष्ण चेतावनी दो न्याय अगर तो आधा दो पर इसमें भी यदि बाधा हो तो दे दो केवल 5 ग्राम रखो अपनी धरती तमाम हम वही खुशी से खाएंगे परिजन पर असी न उठाएंगे दुर्योधन वह भी दे न सका आशीष समाज की ले न सका उल्टे हरि को बांधने चला जो था असाध्य साधने चला जब नाश मनुज पर छाता है पहले विवेक मर जाता है हरि ने भीषण हुंकार किया अपना स्वरूप विस्तार किया डगमग डगमग दिग्गज डोले भगवान कुपित होकर बोले जंजीर बढ़ाकर साध मुझे हाँ हाँ दुर्योधन बांध मुझे
And guys, wait for me 1 minute.
well those who didn't understand the Hindi language that poem in simple words it's showing the struggle of Pandavas and later on Krishna as an ambassador of Pandavas came to Duryodhana to ask for only 5 villages. Okay. He said that we don't want anything else. We would live peacefully. Just give us these 5 villages. That's all. That's all we want. But Duryodhana was like, no, I won't give you anything. Well, then of course, he wanted to even tie Krishna. Then Krishna said, okay, Duryodhana. जंजीर बढ़ाकर साध मुझे हाँ हाँ दुर्योधन बांध come tie me up and let's see who is powerful well he was unaware about Krishna maybe well this epic is about the dynasty of King Bharata who is King Bharata you must have heard the name of this play Abhigyan Shakuntalam by Kalidas in that if you remember the story about the ring Durvasha received so you will remember that King Bharata was the son of the two people one was a king one was a forest nymph okay and he was a heavenly boy and his dynasty would come to represent this his descendants will be participating in this Mahabharata okay so it's not just a family feud this genealogy or you can say this family goes back way back okay if you look at the family tree it's a very huge tree okay the roots are very deep down inside the well anyway or in the heaven you can say an epic is a heroic poem now we are describing epic okay what is an epic is a heroic poem with a long narrative long okay, and a serious subject matter remember this thing it is not mock epic it is not it has a serious subject matter it is very serious okay as you people are just kidding it is a collection of a series of events not just one event not just one plot it has multiple plots and it has series of events but it has at least one major happening okay one major that determines the fate of humanity at large okay this uh, This shows that it's also representing the humanity. Epics are often of national, universal significance. So, what does it mean? It goes beyond time and space, temporal and spatial confinements. I don't know whether. Okay. Temporal and spatial confinements are not able to restrict it. It is not for one age, but it's for all the ages to come and for all the ages that have passed. So, and it's not even just for like Indian context. It is not just relevance. It is not just relevant for the Indian people, but it has a universal significance because this family feud, this good and bad, this lalach buri bara hai, greed, lalach buri bala hai, not bara hai. What? Okay, this is a universal theme which Shakespeare, of course, employed, but of course, we are not talking. I just want to give you a reference. Anyway, the setting of the epic is usually grand, like grand, okay, and involves superhuman actions. I hope that you have read. This is the Indian epic, of course, but as far as other epics like Greek epics, you must have read or heard the name of Iliad, Achilles, Troy, Ulysses. I assume so. If not, that's all right. So superhuman. It's not Superman. It's superhuman means the people having divine powers. Okay, of course, like Krishna and Arjuna is also like that. No people, no person can like practice archery the way Arjuna did. So at least it doesn't seem possible. These days, anything is possible, but okay. It depicts larger than life scenes, vivid descriptions. The details are very nuanced. Okay, everything is described aptly, and it's very long, of course. Long speeches, okay, and elaborate greetings. It's not like hi, how are you? Okay, yeah, I'm fine. No, Maharaja Dhiraj and the whole thing. Before the Maharaja comes, there is 5 minutes that have been just the Maharaja yahan ke wahan ke and everything. He is single Maharaja, but no, the whole greetings would go, and the ambassador would come. Then ambassador matlab Rajdoot in Hindi. He would be reading that paper. Ki okay, ye Maharaj ji, ye wo. I mean seriously. Well, digressions as also hardships. Digressions means moving away from the main plot. And again, there is not just one main plot. Yes, one major happening, which you can say one major plot, but there are subplots, a lot of them. As also hardships, long, arduous journeys, and misadventures. Pandavas would be going on 13-year, uh, well, exile, right? Out of that, 12 would be normal exile, and one would be incognito exile. I assume that most of you would be aware with this word incognito. Well, anyway, आगे बढ़ते हैं. So, the epic encompasses a large time frame that may include generations and ages. So, Shantanu, King Shantanu, Bhishma Pitama. Bhishma Pitama was a kid. He was not even born. Since then, the Mahabharata started at that time. Of course, if you go back, then of course Bharata and then Shakuntala, okay, Dushyant, the father and mother of Bharata, King Bharat. But we are not going that far for now. So it starts with King Shantanu. Then he falls in love with Ganga river, Ganga Mata. Then Ganga Mata, of course, kills 7 of her sons, and she has told Shantanu King that you won't ask me that why am I doing anything. Okay, so there would be no question. Seems like a typical husband wife. Just kidding, just kidding. So, well, King Shantanu was always bewildered. He always got depressed and sad, seeing that his newborn son or daughter or whatever, the children, they were being drowned by Ganga, the mother. he was like he was thinking, but he could not ask because of the promise and the terms and conditions applied. So when it came the number 8, he was not able to control himself. He said, "Why, Ganga? Why are you doing this? Why, Priya? Why? You are killing your own children. You are drowning your own children. Why?" Then she explained him that she is not heartless. The reason is there was a curse on the Saptarishi, 7 sages, that they should be drowned because they should have taken birth this mortal frame body, insan root. So in order to get rid of them of that curse, to help them get rid of that curse, she drowned them the moment they got born. Okay, so that they should not or they would not have to suffer that whatever we humans suffer. So that's why she did that, to give them basically salvation, mukti in Hindi you can say, or moksha in a way, but not exactly moksha. You can say mukti mainly. So then the eighth son was Bhishma. Okay, Bhishma. And then, since Shantanu was not able to keep his promise of not asking any questions from his wife, well, so she left him. And remember this thing, because it was a promise based. It's not that because she got angry or something. No, there was a condition that if you ask questions, or any question, I will leave. Question regarding my actions, okay, I will leave. So that was already decided. It's not that she got angry or anything. She didn't. She did. Okay, remember this thing. And she took that son, eighth son, Bhishma, with her. So she didn't kill him. She didn't. Then what happened? Of course, after a lot of time and all that, he met her again because he was very sad and all that. So he met Ganga. He saw actually a child, which was Bhishma, and he was, throwing uh, doing archery practice on that river. And he was like, "Who is this kid? He's so brilliant. He's divine."
एलपी कहाँ है एलपी?
Then Ganga immersed,
मुझे दी थी
Ganga Mata
नहीं कहाँ
immersed,
है?
and then
मेरी में ही है
she told
किस
him
जगह पे?
वो नहीं
that
पता मुझे
I'm Ganga, I'm your wife, and this is our son, Bhishma. Bhishma ka naam was something else. I'm not able to recall it. I will, in a moment, I think I will. Anyway, during childhood, Devrat. Yes, Devrat. Devrat was his name. Anyway, so moving forward with this, the epic encompasses a last time frame, as I told you, right?
रुको तो अभी.
This is a generic introduction to the epic that I gave you, and this is very important that I should give you a generic introduction. So finally, we're done with the digression. Okay, this is a generic introduction to the epic form, as most of us will know, and it's true of most epics, be they oral or written, of the West or the East. Okay. Okay. So this definition, the definition that I just told you, applies to all the epics, be it oral epic, written epic, Western epic, Eastern epic. This is the general definition, okay, which fits all the criteria, which fits all the epics, all shapes and sizes, as they say. Well, shapes and sizes must be long. Well, just kidding. Well, narrator. Now we are looking at what is a narrator. Every epic has a narrator. By now, I assume that you should have, would have, must have some idea about this narrator part. What is a narrator? In case if you haven't read any novel till now, it's all right, no issue. But it will become an issue if you don't read. Okay. So I would highly suggest, highly recommend that please people go and read any novel. You have a lot of time for now, right now. In first semester, second semester, you have a lot of time. Don't waste it. I'm telling you, it seems like okay, we have to do fun and all that. No, you will regret it. Anyway, coming back, narrator. Every epic has a narrator, and epics also normally begin with an invocation, prayer to the gods, and this invocation is usually performed by the narrator who then sets the epic in motion. Okay, before proceeding further, what is an invocation? In Paradise Lost, written by John Milton. Yeah, I know I'm moving to English one, but it's all right. Just to explain this, in invocation, what is an invocation? It's basically apne you must have seen while watching a play or even in a movie. It doesn't matter what kind of movie is that. There is this what should you say, that invocation of god. God image would be there, the little prayer of 1 or 2 minutes or 30 seconds would be there, at least in the earlier movies. I'm not so sure about these days movies, Bollywood, of course I'm talking about that, because I'm not watching movies for quite some time anyway. So I haven't watched it. So if there is, at least in earlier movies, right, so there used to be invocation of god, right? So before that, similarly in plays or also in any function, generally, again, not all, there is invocation of like Saraswati Puja before the start of any academic function. Again, not always, but in most of the cases. So that's invocation. Okay, prayer to the gods. हिंदी में बोले तो प्रार्थना करना, ताकि आपका आगे का जो भी कार्य है, it would become successful. Praying to God so that the work would be successful, or the play or whatever would be successful. That's all. Well, the invocation is performed by the narrator. In Greek epics, there are 9 muses. They are invoked according to the need. For example, if you are writing a poem, you will invoke a muse who is responsible for poetry. There are 9 basically daughters of Zeus, the Greek god. Different names are there, of course. So Milton is invoking John Milton in Paradise Lost, the epic of British literature, in British literature. He is invoking that muse, okay, and also he's talking about the ways of the god. Well, coming back, the narrator may introduce the epic question that would be dealt with in the work, and around which the entire narrative is built. Okay. Before proceeding or explaining this, I would like to tell you there are mainly 2 types of narrators: first person narrative technique and third person narrative technique. So, where is second person, sir? Where is second person? Well, guys and girls, second person is basically, there is no second person narrative technique, but you may find it in self-help books or yeah, mainly those books, not in novels or something like that. No. Well, first person is of course I went there, I did that. The person himself, the narrator himself, is involved in the story, is a part of the story. Okay, he is playing the role, one of the roles, of course. Okay, first person. Third person, she went there, he went there, he might not be a part of this, and he is an omniscient narrator, a narrator who knows everything about all the situations that might happen, could happen, had happened, will happen, whatever. You got it. So, just a second. Uh, okay, sorry, sorry. So, guys, there was just some delay. Anyway, interruption. Okay, someone actually came. Okay. So, we were talking about narrators. Yes, omniscient narrator. Who is an omniscient narrator? Omniscient, who knows about everything. Okay, the person has idea about everything, and okay, so that's omniscient narrator for you. And he will introduce the epic question. The epic question in John Milton's Paradise Lost. What was the epic question? You might be wondering. So what was that? I have no idea. Just chill. Just chill. Nothing funny. So epic question was to justify the justify the ways of God to men. Okay. Well, if you have read John Milton's Paradise Lost, of course you would understand it. If you haven't, of course, it's all right because we are not doing that. But that's the apt example for now. Anyway, and the theme and question is, and of course, related to that particular single question, this whole narrative will move. Okay, the whole story will move. So you would be wondering, sir, how come Satan in Paradise Lost? How come Satan, Adam and Eve, they are related to this justifying the ways of God to men? Because Milton, by answering or talking about the story of serpent, Satan, of course, कहानी तो पता होगी I hope. In case if you don't know the story, in simple 1 minute, I will tell you the story of Paradise Lost in 1 minute because we don't have time. So what is happening is that there was of course nothing, and then there was God. Those who are from Christian religion, of course, they know better, and forgive me for any errors if I do any. Okay, but let me give you a brief summary of Paradise Lost, not of Mahabharata. Just digression, I know, but it's important. Okay, so there was nothing. Then there was word. The word was with God, and the word was God, and He created, you know, earth and all that. Not all that, actually, earth. And then He created uh, all the things on earth, you know, plants and everything, but not man, not man. Then He felt alone. Well, God can also feel alone. No idea. So then He created Adam. Basically, He didn't feel alone. Now I know that people will be like, no, that's wrong. Relax. I just was just kidding. He was not feeling alone. He wanted someone to rule over all the things that he had created. Okay, so he created Adam out of the dust. Okay, then Adam, yes, we, the descendants of Adam, he felt alone. He felt lonely. That see, everyone is a couple here. I see that I go into park. Everyone is like, okay, ये चुन्नू मुन्नू ये मुन्नू मुन्नू मैं क्या करूं? What should I do? Why am I single? I don't know, man. That's your problem. Well, just kidding. So Adam was like, God, come on. I'm single, yeah. Do something. Right. So, well, God. Well, so he created Eve out of the bone, this rib bone, rib, rib bone of the Adam, of Adam. So then Eve was created. Then Eve was like, when she saw herself in water, she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so beautiful." And then when Adam came behind her, okay, wait, wife, I'm your husband. You're my wife. She was like, "Who is this jungly person? Who is this barbarian? Oh, please stay away from me." The general. Well, stay away from me. Then finally, of course, they reconciled and all that. Then serpent Satan. Now the story goes in epic. I know I'm taking 1 more minute, Milton. Okay. Satan actually was an angel who fought with God, different reasons. Because of Jesus Christ was made his heir, God's heir. So then he was very jealous of Jesus Christ. He was like, "Why are you doing this? I was your favorite angel." So then he collected or organized an army. He fought with God, 1/3 of his army against the 2/3 of God. Even God is single is enough. Anyway, so he kicked kicked Satan or archangel out of heaven. He was archangel at that time. Anyway, then he fell down and he kept on falling down for I don't know how many days. Then finally he reached hell. So you would be wondering, where is hell? Actually, wherever Satan is, there is hell. Satan himself is there. If you have read Dr. Faustus, coming back to Milton. So then he wanted to take revenge, and of course he could not defeat or take revenge upon God by asking God for a war or battle, because of course he was defeated, and he will always be. So he thought that, okay, let's pray, Prey. Let's prey on his creation, or let's defeat his creation, Adam and Eve. He tempted Eve by making her enticing her to eat that apple. Then Adam knew that this will happen. Well, not actually knew because already an angel has had warned him. Anyway, that's a long story, but finally he also succumbed to that because he didn't want to lose her. But remember this thing: Adam could have got hundred thousands, lakhs of Eves. That's true, but he was in love with that Eve, not he didn't want any other Eve. He was in love with that Eve. Of course, उस वक्त वही थी एक, but he could have got okay. But he was like, okay, I will sacrifice heaven for you and go to hell so that you can make my life. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. Heaven, you can make my life heaven. I won't be losing heaven, right? Because if I'm going out with you, you're making my life heaven. Jokes, people. इसमें serious मत है. Well, uh, that's Paradise Lost for you people. So now coming back to the Mahabharata. The theme and question is related to a general truth. It could open a debate on war and justice, since both are important themes in epics. Okay, war and justice. What is right and what is wrong? Good versus evil. Who will win? Good or evil? You decide. No, no, no. It's already decided. Good will win. It may take some time, but of course. And is war uh, a rational thing to do, or is war a good thing to do? Krishna says ki, no one is you are not killing anyone, everyone is already dead, you have already won, this war has already happened, so ना कोई मरता है ना कोई मारता है, ये मैं नहीं कहता, गीता में लिखा है. We can have a debate on that, but it's all right. Episodic in nature. An epic has several episodes, okay, each connected to the other, but each with its own beginning and ending. So it's not Saat Bahu ka serial like episodes. These episodes are episodes basically like chapters, you can say, but they all the episodes have their own beginning and their ending. So you'll be wondering what does it mean? It means that if you read a single chapter, for example, we are going to do in this course, then you won't feel that you have missed something. Of course, you will feel because there are a lot of chapters before that. But what I'm saying is, as far as that story is concerned, particular story is concerned, you won't be missing anything. Again, only that part. Okay. So, but all the stories are connected. So that's how it becomes an epic. Well, while these episodes have a bearing on one another, okay, connected, interdependent on one another, they are logically complete in themselves. Just what I told you, right? This is an essential quality of an epic. What is an essential quality, you may ask? That all the episodes should be interconnected to each other, but all the episodes or each single episode should be complete in itself. Okay, it should not depend or rely on the other episodes to understand that particular episode. Again, if you go deep, of course, then of course it's incomplete, right? That who was Shantanu? How come he started ruling? Who was his father? All those questions. Then of course you need to go back, way back. Topic at Shakuntala. And then who was Dushyant? तब तो भैया पता नहीं क्या पढ़ोगे तुम. Just kidding, just kidding. Well, that's the essential quality of it. And grandiloquent or grandiloquent. Just kidding. Grandiloquent. सही था पहले. The style of an epic is formal and grandiloquent, which means the narration must be both grand in scope and eloquent in expression. Okay, it's very formal. There is no informality. There is no subplot or interlude or any kind of digression which would be comic. You cannot find any kind of comic element per se, in the sense that the whole subplot is comic. No, you won't find it. Comedy you may find, funny you may find, but any subplot, especially being comic, you won't find. So you must be thinking, what? So what? So what? So what is this? That in other plays, for example, in tragic comedies, or let's say Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe, if you have read, then it's a very serious play. But what is difference is that in within that play there is a subplot which is mocking the main plot, which is making fun of the main plot, the main character Dr. Faustus. So there is fun, and fun is I didn't find it funny, but it's funny actually. It's funny. That's a different thing. But in epic, you won't find anything dedicated in the way subplots are dedicated in tragic plays. Okay, that's the difference between one of the differences, because there are a lot of differences between an epic and a tragedy. Okay, tragedy and epic. Epic has many tragedies. A tragedy has no epic at all. Simple. So the style is formal and grandiloquent. The speeches are, of course, you know, very wide, like grand. Look, Maharaja Dhiraj, Your Highness, the Lord, or पता नहीं क्या which means the narration must be grand in scope. Grand in scope means universal, gods, superhumans, demi-humans, demigods, and all that. Not demi-humans. Okay, demi-humans भी आ जाते हैं. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Okay. The epic would reject ordinary speech in favor of oratory. Okay, let's say if you have to say, Mama, I want sandwich. No, you won't say it like this. You will say, my dear mom, my dear, not mom, mother, my dear uh, mother, it would be I would be highly grateful to you if you could just give me a piece of sandwich, a loaf of bread, you know, a good tea, maybe a good cup of tea, maybe, So yeah, I would be highly obliged to you, mother. So I request you earnestly to fulfill this request of mine. Thank you, mother. इतना कौन बोलता है? Well, वहां से चप्पल बरसे. The epic would reject ordinary speech in favor of oratory and stylized language. It was just, of course, informal example, but you got the point. It would often have epic conventions and epic similes. So आप सोचोगे यार ये epic conventions क्या है and epic similes क्या है? Comparisons. Similes is some comparisons. Conventions basically traditions, norms, and things that are only aptly applied to epics, जो कि अभी हम देखेंगे. Okay, this is a famous scene, as you can see. This he is Lord Krishna. Okay, if anyone can recognize him, it would be great. Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharya, कौन कौन है बताओ in the comment section. And why is he taking this in his hand, this wheel? And who is this? Arjuna? या कोई और? Well, what is going on here? If you know about it, it's fine. If you don't, it's not. So these are the basic questions that I have asked. If you can answer, you can answer in the question answer section. Okay, yeah, I forgot. In the there is a question answer section. In case you don't know, see, let me tell you. This is the question answer section. Okay, this I don't know whether you're able to see it or not, but this is the question answer section where you can find you can write it. Okay, you have already written it. Okay, fine. Wow, so many questions. Uh, person, he gave him the altruistic person, philanthropist. The he was these people are able to interact with gods, and in crucial moments see the gods in their divine avatar. We know that during this Mahabharata, Kurukshetra Yuddha, Mahabharata Yuddha, the main scene, Krishna, while delivering this Gita, Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna or Arjun, he took this divine avatar. And in order to see that divine Swarup of God, of Lord Krishna, Krishna gave him a different kind of eyesight, divine eyesight, divine powers, so that he could see it. Because not everyone could see it, because it was like thousand suns are radiating from his body and illuminating the sky and all that. So those descriptions are there. So that is also possible. And these heroic characters, again, there was this episode of 100 galtiyan maaf kar dunga, but if you do another one more galti or mistake, I will kill you. So if you remember that episode, comment in the comment section. The heroic characters are able to draw strength and knowledge from the gods who play an important role in their lives. These people learn directly or in a way indirectly maybe from gods. If the example provoke or sorry invoke not provoke तो गए invoke gods for strength. Okay, ऐसे करके कि जो भी मंत्र पढ़ा and then God will give them strength. So that's what it means basically. Okay, and also knowledge of course. Bhagavad Gita, the greatest example ever. There is a union between the human and the divine in the epic. There is union. Okay, Krishna, being an avatar, being the god himself, he became a friend, best friend rather, of Arjun, right? So they were friends. पार्थ के रथ हाकन हैं, मतलब पार्थ के लिए वो रथ हाँकने लगे. स्वामी जो है, नाथ जो है, वो दुनिया के. So the Lord of the world started becoming or became a charioteer for his friend or Parth Arjun. At the same time, the heroes are not mere observers or spectator of events. They are participants and agents of change. Okay, now this is very very important point. Okay, remember this thing. Now you can learn something from this epic. अभी तक सोच रहे हो कि यार ठीक है वो सब it's all right, but क्या है मतलब क्या didactic है? यहाँ पे give me time. It's very important to explain you. Have you ever wondered that Arjuna or Pandavas have or had this Lord Krishna on their side? Arjuna was the best friend of Lord Krishna. Best friend. Even then, they suffered 12 years in normal exile, which was not normal at all, and 1 year in incognito exile. Also, they suffered a lot of humiliation. Draupadi Chiranan, you know that famous or infamous, you can say, episode in Mahabharata, and a lot of trials and tribulations. Mata Kunti, their mother, she suffered a lot. Now, before proceeding further, I would like to take this point. Mata Kunti episode. There is a famous episode or whatever you will say, scene in Mahabharata where Mata Kunti, Mother Kunti, for those who don't know Hindi, Mother Kunti, Kunti is the name of the mother of Pandavas. Okay, clear? So Pandu Putra. Pandu was the husband of Kunti. Okay. Okay, we are not going deep into that. फिर वो पूरा genealogy start हो जाएगा. Okay, coming back. Mata Kunti, Mother Kunti, asked for pains, sufferings in her life instead of happiness and everything from God. Now the question would be in your mind, why would anyone in the world would ask for pain and suffering from God himself? Why? The reason that she gave, because by having pain in her life, she would be constantly remembering God. Because if she gets happiness, there is a possibility that she might forget about God or might not remember Him with that intensity the way she would be remembering if she had only sufferings in her life. Simple words में दुख में सुमिरन सब करे सुख में करे न कोई जो सुख में सुमिरन करे तो दुख काहे को होए. ठीक है. So basically, if you remember God in your happy times, there will be no sad times, right? Bad times. But if you remember God only during your sad times, bad times, then of course it means that you are not actually invoking God or love God the way you should. For example, if a friend remembers you only during his hard times, कि भाई यार पैसे चाहिए यार पार्टी हो कि तो पैसे चाहिए मेरे पास ऐसे दोस्त रहे हैं सब भाई यार पैसे नहीं है दे दे तो मेरा तो वही खाता चलता था. Just kidding, just kidding. Okay, coming back, serious हो जाओ, serious. So वैसे चाहिए. So you will be like, ठीक है भाई, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. But when he is happy, he does not even recognize you, or he's like कि कौन हो भाई, अरे यार टाइम नहीं है, मैं